Have you ever loved someone who pulls away the moment things get good, who never quite tells you what they need, who seems to have built an entire life around not needing anyone, and wondered, somewhere underneath all of it, whether they actually want you in their life at all? We've all felt misunderstood in a relationship, and anyone who has loved an avoidant has known the particular ache of standing close to someone who feels miles away, knowing love is there, somewhere underneath, but not knowing how to reach it. That's why this channel exists. The Relationship Blueprint translates the deepest psychology of how humans love, the science nobody explains, into language and tools you can actually use. Today, we're going somewhere most relationship videos won't. We're going to walk through 8 things avoidants actually want, desperately even, but cannot, will not, and often do not even know how to ask for. And want number 6 in particular is going to completely reframe how you read the avoidant in your life. By the end of this video, you'll understand the avoidant you've been struggling to read better than they understand themselves. And you'll have 8 specific ways to reach them, starting today. Welcome back to the Relationship Blueprint. If you're new, we go beneath the surface of relationships every week and translate real psychology into tools you can use. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, let's talk about the avoidant in your life. Before we get to what avoidants want, one thing about why they can't ask for it. Because if you don't understand that, none of the rest of this video will land. Avoidant attachment develops in childhood when a caregiver was consistently unable or unwilling to meet emotional needs. Not necessarily abusive, just emotionally unavailable. The child learned, over hundreds of small moments, that reaching out for connection produced disappointment, dismissal, or pressure. So they stopped reaching. They learned to need less. They built a self that didn't require anyone. That self came with a cost. Because the needs didn't disappear, they just went underground. The avoidant adult still wants closeness, still wants to be seen, still wants to matter to someone. They just don't have the language for it. The asking itself feels dangerous in a way they often can't even consciously name. An avoidant doesn't want connection less than other people. They want it just as much. They've simply learned that the cost of asking for it is too high. Which means, if you want to reach an avoidant, you cannot wait for them to ask. You have to know what they want before they say it. Stay until want number 6. That's the one that completely reframes how avoidants experience love. It's the most saved insight in this entire series. What they want: 1. To be wanted without being pursued. This is the deepest paradox of avoidant attachment. They want to feel chosen. They want to know they matter to you. They want to be wanted. But the moment that wanting becomes pursuit, pressure, urgency, repeated reaching, their nervous system reads it as threat, and they pull away. Avoidants distinguish between being wanted and being chased in a way most other people don't. To them, these are completely different experiences. Being wanted feels like safety. Being chased feels like suffocation. What they think but won't say: I want to know you want me. But the moment you make me feel I have to give a specific response, that I have to reassure you on your timeline, every protective instinct I have wakes up. How it shows up: they warm up significantly when you stop reaching for them, and pull back when you increase contact, even gentle contact. Here is how to give it to them. Express your feelings clearly, once. Then return to your own life and let them come back to you. The space you give them is not absence. It is the very thing that allows them to feel chosen rather than cornered. What they want, 2. Their independence to be respected. not pathologized. Avoidants have built their sense of self around independence, their solitude, their freedom to think, decide, and exist on their own terms. To most avoidants, this isn't pathology. It's the most stable, well-functioning version of themselves they know. And one of the most painful experiences in their relationships is having that independence framed as a problem, as avoidance, as something to be fixed. Because here's what happens when you treat their core self as broken. Every move they make to take care of themselves becomes an indictment. Every healthy boundary becomes an issue. Every quiet moment alone becomes evidence of the relationship failing. What they think but won't say. My need for solitude is not a wound. It's the part of me that knows how to take care of itself. When you treat it like a defect, you're asking me to be less of myself in order to keep you. How it shows up. They become more guarded around you, more performative, more careful about the parts of themselves they show, because the message they've received is that their natural state is unwelcome. Here is how to give it to them. Stop framing their need for space as a problem to be solved. Start framing it as a strength to be respected. Say it out loud. I love that you take care of yourself. I love that you have your own world. That sentence, said sincerely, reorients their nervous system in a way most relationship advice never accesses. What they want. 3. To be appreciated for what they do. Give avoidants often express love through actions, not words. They show up. They do things. They handle the practical reality of life with their partner, with quiet, consistent reliability. And they almost never receive credit for any of it, because the things they do don't look like love in the language most people are taught to recognize it. When an avoidance partner consistently focuses on what's missing, the verbal affirmations, the emotional vulnerability, the spontaneous expressions of love, and never acknowledges what is there, the showing up, the practical care, the steady presence. The avoidant slowly comes to believe that what they offer is not enough. Not enough for love, not enough to be loved, not enough to be seen. What they think but won't say, I am offering you my love in the only way I know how to offer it. When you ask me for more without ever acknowledging what I'm already giving, I start to disappear. How it shows up. They begin to give less, not more. Because what they were already giving wasn't enough. So what's the point of trying harder? Here is how to give it to them. Notice and name the love they are giving. I noticed you took care of that without me asking. That meant a lot. You always remember things, even when I don't say I want them. I see that. Specific. Out loud. Repeatedly. Watch what happens when an avoidant feels their love language is being received. If you want an avoidant to give more, start by receiving what they're already giving. Receiving is its own kind of love, and it's the one most avoidants have rarely experienced. What they want. 4. Slow trust that doesn't demand speed. Avoidants do not give trust quickly, and, counter to how this is often framed, that's not a flaw. It's the natural function of a nervous system that learned, very early, that trust is dangerous. Trust meant disappointment. Trust meant being hurt by someone who had access to hurt them. So trust got built differently. An avoidant builds trust the way other people build muscle, slowly, through repeated, small, reliable inputs, through evidence, not assurance, through consistent presence, not big moments. And when you push them to trust faster than that nervous system can absorb the input, they don't move toward you, they move away. Because asking them to trust faster than their system allows is asking them to abandon themselves to keep you. What they think but won't say. I want to trust you. Every part of me wants to. But I cannot manufacture trust on your timeline. The faster you push, the longer it will take, because the pushing itself is the thing my system reads as a reason not to. How it shows up. They appear to take steps toward you and then pull back, open up and then close down, get close and then create distance. The pattern feels chaotic from the outside, but is perfectly logical from the inside. They're testing whether the safety holds. Here is how to give it to them. Be the consistency they need to actually let trust accumulate. Don't react to every retreat as a betrayal. Don't read every closure as the end. Just keep showing up, calmly and without fanfare. Time and consistency are the only ingredients that build avoidant trust. There is no shortcut. What they want 5. To be allowed to feel without being required to perform. Feeling avoidants feel deeply. This is one of the most misunderstood things about them. They are not less emotional than other people. They often feel more, in fact, but they have lost, or never developed, the language to express what they feel out loud. And one of the most painful experiences for an avoidant in love is being asked to perform an emotional language they don't have access to in the moment. Being asked, while they're processing something heavy, to articulate it. Being asked, when they're moved, to say so. Being asked, in their most vulnerable moment, to perform vulnerability on demand. When you push an avoidant to verbally process before they're ready, even with the best intentions, you trigger the same nervous system response that taught them to retreat in the first place. You become, momentarily, the very thing they've spent their life learning to protect themselves from. What they think but won't say. I am feeling something. I don't know how to say it yet. Asking me to say it before I have words for it doesn't help me say it. It just makes me close down faster. How it shows up. They go quiet during emotional moments. They look away. They withdraw. Not because they don't feel, but because the asking to articulate has triggered overwhelm. Here is how to give it to them. Let presence be enough. Don't fill silence with questions. Don't force words. Sit beside them. Make your body language say, I am here. You are not alone. There is no rush. That kind of patience, wordless, steady, unintrusive, gives an avoidant the rarest thing in their life, the safety to feel without performing. What they want. 6. To be loved. Even when they disappoint you. This is the one. The one most people miss completely. Underneath every avoidant defense, there is a core belief installed in childhood. Love is conditional. The moment I disappoint someone, the moment I'm not what they need me to be, the moment I fall short, they will leave. They will withdraw. They will punish. The relationship will become unsafe. And so avoidants do something subtle and constant. They brace for disappointment. They keep enough distance that when they fail, the failure won't cost them everything. They expect the punishment that always came. They build their life so that no single relationship has the power to hurt them the way the early ones did. The single most reorienting thing you can do for an avoidant is fail to punish them. Be disappointed and stay. Have a hard conversation and not threaten the relationship. Let them mess up and continue to love them with the same energy you had before they messed up. That experience, being loved through failure rather than abandoned at it, is the corrective experience that more than anything else allows an avoidant to begin trusting that this love might be different. What they think but won't say. If I let you all the way in and then I disappoint you, what will happen? My nervous system has rehearsed that answer my whole life. I am waiting to see if you're going to confirm it. How it shows up. They wait for the catch. They keep one foot out the door. They underpromise, sometimes deliberately, so you can't be too disappointed. They expect the relationship to end every time something goes wrong. Here is how to give it to them. When they fail, small things first. Be gracious. Be kind. Don't make it a referendum on the relationship. Tell them, in those moments specifically, I'm not going anywhere. We're going to figure this out. That sentence, said when they expect punishment, is one of the most healing things they will ever hear. Avoidants don't need you to never be disappointed in them. They need you to be disappointed in them and stay. That experience, over and over, is the one that finally teaches their nervous system that love can be something other than conditional. What they want. 7. To be known. Slowly, not interrogated. Avoidants want to be known, truly. But the way most relationships go about knowing someone, the deep questions, the vulnerability prompts, the "tell me about your childhood" moments, feels like an interrogation to a nervous system that learned to protect its inner world from intrusion. What avoidants actually want is to be known the way some friendships work, slowly, indirectly, through accumulation rather than excavation, through being beside someone for long enough that pieces of them naturally surface, through ordinary conversation that doesn't need to go deep to be real. What they think but won't say. I will tell you everything about myself. I just need to do it on my own timeline, in my own way, when I trust the moment. Asking me to perform deep disclosure on cue makes me feel like a subject being studied, not a person being known. How it shows up. They share things sideways, through stories about other people, through humor, through small disclosures dropped casually into ordinary conversations. Those moments are gold. They're how avoidants tell you who they are. Here is how to give it to them. Stop asking deep questions and start being present for the small disclosures. When they mention something about themselves, even tiny, receive it like a gift. Don't probe further. Don't make a big deal of it. Just let them know it landed. They will share more slowly when they feel that what they share will be held lightly. What they want. 8. Permission to love you in their own way. This is the final one, and it's the one that, if you can give it, changes everything. Most avoidants spend their lives feeling like they love wrong. Their love comes out quieter than other people's. It expresses itself through actions instead of declarations. It shows up in steady presence rather than emotional fireworks. And they have spent years being told, explicitly or implicitly, that this isn't enough, that real love is louder, that if they really loved someone, they'd express it differently. And so they live with a low, persistent feeling of inadequacy, of being broken in some essential way, of being unable to give the thing they're being asked to give. Because the thing they can give doesn't count. The most profound gift you can give an avoidant is permission to love you in their language, to stop translating their love into something else, to stop measuring it against the version of love you were taught to expect, to let their love be theirs, and to let it be enough. What they think but won't say, I am loving you the only way I know how. If the way I love isn't recognized as love, then I cannot give you what you're asking for, because what you're asking for isn't who I am. How it shows up. They love quietly, steadily, through actions, through staying, through the 1,000 small things they do that no one ever notices. Their love is a foundation, not a fire. Here is how to give it to them. Tell them explicitly that the way they love you is enough. I see how you love me. You don't have to do it any differently. The way you love is the way I want to be loved. This sentence, said and meant, is one of the most healing things an avoidant person will ever hear in their life. An avoidant who finally feels their love is enough is an avoidant who slowly stops needing to defend themselves from being loved. The walls didn't come down because you got past them. They came down because you stopped asking them to be different. 8 things avoidants want. Look at what they have in common. None of them are about being pursued harder. None of them are about being demanded of more. None of them are about the avoidant changing into a different kind of person. Every single one is about being received, exactly as they are, and given the safety to slowly become more of themselves over time. This is the thing most relationship advice gets wrong about avoidance. The advice usually focuses on how to break through their walls, get them to open up, force the connection. But avoidants don't need their walls broken through. They need to feel safe enough to let the walls down on their own. And that safety is built, not by pursuing them harder, but by giving them the 8 specific things we've talked about today. You don't reach an avoidant by pursuing them. You reach them by being the safety they've never been allowed to feel. Now, I want you to hear this clearly. Knowing what an avoidant wants is the first half of reaching them. The second half is knowing what to actually say when the wall does go up, because it will. There will be moments, even after you've given them everything we've talked about today, when they shut down, when the silence comes, when they go somewhere you can't follow. In those exact moments, there are 6 specific words that make all the difference. The wrong words push them deeper into the shutdown. The right ones, and these are word for word, not theory, bring them back. I cover all 6 in our next video. If you've watched this far, you owe yourself this one. Watch it now. Subscribe to the Relationship Blueprint. New video every week. The avoidant in your life is reachable. You just need the right language. I'll see you in the next one.